Yo, what's going on guys? This is Kickback here with another Alamo Jam video, and in today's video guys, we're going back to the beta days on Alamo Jam Play Wild. So this footage I'm going to be going over, I'm going to be using the footage from a Slushy2151's video all the way back in 2015 where she showed off all the features and whatnot in Play Wild, and I'm going to be comparing them to nowadays. So let's get right into it. So here, as we can see, she is on the Google Play Store. At the time, a lot of people were using BlueStacks app player, which was an Android emulator that allowed you to play actual mobile games on your PC, and a lot of people did this for Play Wild beta at the time because they wanted to play Wild, obviously. And as you can see here, same three starter animals, but the UI and login screen is a lot different to it is nowadays anyway. It's a bit brighter. The naming thing is kind of similar, I guess. Maybe the buttons are different colors. Now at the time, I do want to talk about this because this was actually kind of big. As you can see here, she picked the username Pride, which on Alamo Jam Classic, or Alamo Jam at the time, I'll just refer to it as Alamo Jam, this username was taken, meaning you could get usernames that were already taken on Alamo Jam at the time on Alamo Jam Play Wild because they didn't have that integration factored in yet, and I don't think they were considering that until they actually launched the game later on. But yeah, it pretty much says here, welcome beta players, and it tells them to give feedback and whatnot. And here is the actual design menu. So this would be where you would put on your items and whatnot, and as you can see, this is a lot different to nowadays, which I will show off the character design menu now. Obviously it changes by the season, and the buttons have changed, as well as how big the items are, and positioning of all the buttons and whatnot are all different as well. Some things are bigger and some things are smaller, of course. The colors, obviously there's more colors now, and they seem to be like a different kind of shading on them back here, as well as the game in general. It seemed to have a lot of shading on it, and I think they ended up not going with that because it might slow down game performance on lower tier devices, which I wish they would give that as an option, but it's all good. And then she shows off here Jamal clothing, which I will head on over to now, which is a lot different to it is nowadays. As you can see here, it was all of the items in the catalog were placed on the table, and you would actually have to click on the items to buy them, and some beta variants were probably removed here. I'm not too sure. You guys can tell me in the comments. Structurally, the store is somewhat the same. You know, you still got the recycle machine there and whatnot. However, I pretty much pretty much prefer where the items are like this now, where they're all on the table, but I get why they actually changed that up because there was a lot of more items added to the game. Obviously, they couldn't just keep on adding tables onto the store, so they obviously have to change something like that. Now, the map here is a lot different to it is nowadays. There was a fountain there. The bulletin board is in front of the pillow room, and the pillow room is behind the bulletin board. Jamart clothing, or Jamart furniture I should say, is all the way over here, and the Myra statue is the exact same place it is, but the pillow room is obviously near it, which they ended up moving later on in the game. At the time, Apondale wasn't a land. Club Geos was also still there at the time. Then also Cerebio Forest, it is quite similar to it is nowadays, pretty much the exact same layout. Even if we look here, everything seems somewhat the same. Also loading screens were different. I don't know if I mentioned that already. We have the normal did you know thing with the Alamo Jam logo. However, back then it was just Play Wild with the bunny saying did you know at the bottom of the screen. Pretty much all these lands except for Jamal Township seem to be the exact same, if not similar. They really haven't changed that much over the years. You know, there's only some differences in Coral Canyons here. I think Wild Explorer Cammy's tent has been added, and obviously Epic Wonders is now available also. But I think that's pretty much it to talk about for the Play Wild beta footage from Slushy anyway. But now moving on to Wisteria Moon's footage. So she actually also played in the beta back in 2015. As you can see here in Jamart clothing, they did actually change out the items a lot here. So they have army helmets, camo boots, sparkly bows, you know, all these kind of items that are rare nowadays anyway. I know army helmets and camo boots are. Then there's also items like brain helmets and whatnot that are also pretty cool to see. She also shows off the pillow room here, which stays somewhat the same nowadays from what it is nowadays, obviously. And then also Club Geos, which I don't even remember what Club Geos looks like anymore. It's been that long since they took it down. But it's also here, and it had its own music to it as well. And it's pretty cool overall. Here we can also see gem art furniture. I don't know if I actually talked about this yet. This was somewhat same with the gem art clothing. Some of the items you could actually press on to buy, but there was also a catalog for stuff like floorings and also just all items in general for furniture anyway. And here is what the default den looked like. So you would have the exact same kind of default items as well. Some are different and some are different colors nowadays, so pretty cool to see. And they also changed the typing, so I don't know if that was just because she was on PC and BlueStacks does that or what, but usually obviously it would now bring up your phone or tablet keyboard when you actually type, or just the in-game keyboard you would see nowadays like this, and it is now appearing at the bottom of your screen. Other than that, pretty much the same, as I said, just different interface and whatnot. And she also had a username called example, which would have been taken on Alamo Jam at the time, but as I said, they didn't actually put in that integration in yet for both of the games to work together, so you could get any username you wanted at the time, and everything is pretty much the exact same other than that, or at least somewhat the same. Now, just to finish this up here, I just want to talk about, you know, Play Wild nowadays compared to the beta. And you know, it's been a good long while since the beta. It's been about 5-6 years I think at this point, and that's a long time for Alamo Jam Play Wild to be a game. And obviously it's now more popular than Alamo Jam Classic, which is crazy to think. You know, back then when this game was in Play Wild and in beta testing, you wouldn't even think that it would surpass Alamo Jam Classic, but nowadays it actually has more players. But I also want to talk about people like saying they want to go back to the beta, but like I see people say that all the time, but realistically the beta was a lot more dull and boring than it is made up to be. I know it's exciting to see it in footage like this nowadays. However, you know, there wouldn't really be much to do. Obviously trading wasn't even a thing back in the beta. It wasn't added later on in the game's life. I think midway, maybe late beta, is when they actually added trading to the game. So, you know, that factor, which a lot of people do play for trading, is gone. And gems were a lot harder to get, and sapphires weren't a thing either. So that's also something to consider. And there was only 3 animals, being the wolf, the monkey, and the bunny, which I don't think a lot of people are huge fans of and would rather have the animals nowadays. So, you know, I would personally prefer being in the Play Wild we have now, but you know, other people might have different opinions and still might want to go back to the beta, even though those factors exist, I guess. But yeah guys, that's pretty much gonna wrap up the video here talking about the Play Wild beta. Make sure to subscribe with notifications on if you guys do want to be notified on future videos, as well as videos just like this one. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy today's video, and let me know what you thought of it in the comment section below. What did you guys think of Play Wild's best beta testing period? I'm excited to see what you guys think, and I will catch you guys in the next one.